I know that I said I wasn't going to do a video for a little while because I have ECCC coming up, but I just read the first 2 books in the Darkest Mind series, so I thought I would just go ahead and make a video real quick. I actually tried doing this earlier today, and I uploaded the video and everything, but it was like 16 minutes long, so I wasn't able to upload it because it was too long, because I'm crazy and I made a very long video for whatever reason. So today I wanted to talk about the 2 books in the Darkest Minds series. So Darkest Minds is the first book and Never Fade is the second. I have to go get Never Fade in actual physical copy because I have a feeling that I'm going to be rereading these books as soon as the 3rd book comes out in December. So, it's so good. So, I am obsessed with dystopian series, especially. I don't know what it is about them, but they're so interesting, and almost all of the dystopian series that I read are completely different than the one before it, and I just love the imagination that people have, that these authors have when they write about these. And this series kind of mixes a little bit of 2 things that I love. My 2 favorite genres right now are dystopian and sci-fi, and this kind of merges the 2. It's a dystopian society, and it's not set that far into the future. I almost want to say that it would be like the generation that's being born now would kind of be the generation that this book is about. But they are mutants, basically. They all have a special power, which is so cool. And I love that about these books. So this book series, if you haven't read these books, I definitely recommend them. They are about a dystopian society. Children from the ages of 8 to 14, once they hit puberty, they either get killed by this IAAN disease, which is short for idiopathic adolescent acute neurodegeneration. It's a tongue twister if you say it too fast. And the children either die, like basically as soon as it happens, or the children that live ended up with a mutated power. And there are 4 different classes that they do it by color. So there's blue, or 5 different, sorry, not 4, 5. There's blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. And that's pretty much the safety level that they are as well. So blue is telekinetic, green is like a super brain, basically. 3 is electric current, or yellow is electric current. Orange is mind control, and red is fire. Like they can hurl fireballs at people. So that's kind of cool. And so they're classified by that, and all these kids get sent to these camps for rehabilitation, and they're actually monitored and tested on and all of that. And so that's what this series is about. So if you haven't read these books, I would stop this video now because I'm going to be talking about both of them, and it's hard to talk about both books in one video without giving away complete spoilers of at least one of the books. So if you haven't read these books, stop watching if you don't want to hear anything else about them. Definitely pick these up. I recommend them. They are great reads. I wasn't expecting to get through them as quick as I did because they aren't exactly quick reads. They are about 500 pages each, and I really picked these up thinking that it was going to be really, like, I was going to take my time and read this over a 2-week period because I have so much to do, but I ended up reading them both in 2 days. So pick these up. They're so good. All right.
Please.
So let's talk about the first book, Darkest Minds. So I wasn't sure if I was really going to be as into this book as I am. I thought it would be a leisurely read because it is such a long book, but I ended up reading it all in a day because it was so good. So Ruby, love her. I love her. The reason why I love Ruby so much is because she's such like a precious little snowflake, in this book, and she has a really hard time. She doesn't know what's going on. She's been locked in a camp for 6 years. But I love her. And in Never Fade, she's just like a bamf. She gets shit done. She's so tough, and I just love it. So in the beginning of the book, she gets classified as a green, but I was really confused by the whole thing. I might have to go back and reread it because I was so confused by what was going on. Whenever she would touch someone in the beginning of the book and she would like get in their head, I wasn't really understanding what was going on because I thought that she was a green. I thought when they classified her, they were doing a test on her. I didn't know that she was being an orange, really. That she was in his head, like telling him that she's a green. So I was kind of confused until she did it again with her friend Sam that was in the camp with her. So sad. It's so sad. So she finds out that she's actually an orange because they blast the calming noise, and it has like a special sound for people that got classified wrong because the yellow, orange, and red got taken out of the camp about 3 years in when they couldn't fit any more people in, so they took them away and brought more greens and blues in because they were docile compared to the other two. And she thought the yellows might have been taken away for special testing, but obviously the orange and red were killed, were basically eradicated, or what she thought. So she finds out she's an orange, and someone comes and helps break her out, and it's the Children's League. It's Kate from the Children's League, and she actually breaks away from them when she gets into Rob's mind, who is a person that she meets up with Kate, and finds out that he killed some kids. So she like runs off and meets up with Liam and Zoo and Chubbs, and the entire book is them trying to find this utopia of God, I forgot even what the town was called, or the camp that they were going to, but they were meeting up with the Slip Kid because the Slip Kid was supposed to help them get in touch with their families again. And so that was interesting. I loved the book. I mean, it had some slow spots in the middle when they were like traveling around in the minivan, like trying to evade the bounty hunters, basically. And I kind of like how she explained the world building. I thought was actually pretty good considering it's coming from a bunch of kids, you know. The fact that the United States is basically quarantined itself and doesn't accept aid from other countries, and it's the only country that was affected by the IAAN, and so it kind of makes it a little conspiracy theory-esque that maybe the government did it, and it was really kind of cool. And I love that the Slip Kid ended up being Clancy Gray, who is the president's son. I thought that was really cool too, and that he was an orange, so he taught Ruby some things and ended up being like this crazy mofo, and I really liked it. The end made me so sad, and I didn't have Never Fade when I finished this book, so I was like, what am I gonna do? I need to know what happens. And luckily, one of my girlfriends just finished reading the series, so she sent me a copy of her ebook until I can go out and get a physical copy, because I've got Comic-Con coming up, so I was like, I'm not gonna buy any books until I get done with Comic-Con. I can't do it. So there's that. So, and then I read Never Fade immediately after I actually finished this a few hours ago. My Never Fade. I loved this book so much more than the first book. The first book was great, but these books are really dark. Like, I wasn't expecting them to be as dark as they are, especially because Alexandra Bracken, she works in children's publishing, so I wasn't expecting them to be as dark as they are. And I loved that they were, because so many dystopian books, like, although they are dystopian societies are kind of dark and depressing, kind of, but this one took it to a whole different place where it was actually, I had anxiety reading these books because I was so scared for them. I really was. And Never Fade was no different, especially when they're doing their thing again. So the beginning of Never Fade takes place about 6 months after The Darkest Minds leave off. So, of course, if you've read the first book, you know that at the end, to save Liam's life, she erases herself out of his memories so that she makes a bargain to work for the Children's League as long as he's allowed to go and be free, and he doesn't have to be a weapon for them, basically. So 6 months later, she goes on a mission, and she's now the leader of a small operative of mutant children. And so she's there with Vita, who is a blue that is under her command, who obviously has a problem with her. But I love their dynamic throughout the book. I think it's so great. Anyways, so they save patient 27, or whatever, prisoner 27, not patient. Prisoner 27, and it ends up being Cole, who is Liam's brother, who was in the Children's League with Liam when it first started. He just wants to tell you about it too. Anyways, so she has to go into Cole's mind to find this thumb drive that he got through one of his operatives that has a whole bunch of information about the op that he was on, and she goes into his head and finds out that Liam was the one that took it. So the entirety of this book is her trying to find Liam, and then after she finds Liam, trying to get that thumb drive back to the Children's League back in California to basically shed light to the American people about what the government is doing to these kids in the camps to help free these kids in the camps. And there are people that are in the Children's League that obviously have a different objective than she does, and actually wants to use the kids as a weapon and to kill the kids off. And they try and take over, basically. So the second book was so emotional. It was such an emotional little roller coaster. These books are so dark, and I love it. I love it. I love it. The ending of Never Fade killed me because it ends so abruptly. I first, like, poor Jude, and then it just ends. It just ends, and like the next book doesn't come out until December, and I just don't know what I'm gonna do until then, because there isn't even a cover or a title for it yet. He's growling at Khaleesi back there. But anyways, there isn't like a cover or a title yet. And on Alexandra Bracken's Tumblr, she just keeps posting failed titles. And I just want to know what it is, because as soon as there's a title and a cover, that makes it real and it's going to come out. And I just want to know it's coming out, because I am in such a horrible place now, because I want to know what happens. I need to know that Ruby is okay. I need to know that Vita is okay. I need to know that Liam and Cole are going to be awesome. And I want Chubbs to do something awesome. I just want these kids to not die anymore. I want these kids to stop dying. I want these kids to stop dying, basically. And I loved in Never Fade how much of a badass Ruby is. Oh man, she just like is all business and does what she has to do, and she's just all venom, and I loved it. And I love that she started going into these dark places with her power, because it just shows, you know, how crazy it would be to be able to get inside people's heads like that. But yeah, so read these books because they're so good. I love them so much. They are now my favorites. If you haven't already, add me on Goodreads and Tumblr. I'll put the links below. And everyone have a good weekend, and hopefully Liam will let me make another one without him one day.